What's happening? Andy here. I am joined today by Vaclav Muchna and Martini of Ysoft. You guys are over there in the Czech Republic. How is the Czech Republic today? What's happening?
Hello, Andy. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having us today, first of all. And the weather is good. COVID is increasing. So that's pretty much how would I summarize that?
Yeah, well, offices are empty everywhere. You know, people are trying to get to the street, but still keeping the distances. So it's a little scary.
Yeah. Well, it is over here too. I'm in Western New York, and we're actually kind of doing okay right now. Still wearing the masks and doing all that stuff. So you know, it is what it is. We haven't been to a conference in quite a while. You guys are normally in Brno, Czech Republic, but today, as you told me earlier when we were logging on, you are in Prague. Yes.
Yeah, we have offices Prague, Brno, and another city called Ostrava. So I would say I'm going to Prague like every week or so.
Yeah,
it's pretty easy. Martin, he likes driving car, but I tell you a secret. Today, he went by train with me.
No kidding. Well, I took that.
Yeah,
ride.
I like trains.
It was nice. It was nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful trip. I took that ride when I visited both of your offices. I was in the Brno office, and then I was in the one in Czech Republic, and it was a great visit. It seems like it was just yesterday. I've got some an awesome couple awesome pictures I'll put in there from the last visit of you guys and my What's Happening hats. So, you know, the big news today, the reason I wanted to talk to you is congratulations are in order. Yes, we've hit a milestone.
Thank you. Yeah,
big one.
Yeah, so 20 years. Ysoft has been in business 20 years as of this year. You incorporated in 2000, and so I was thinking about this, and it's quite an achievement. And you know, for you to have opened in 2000, you must have been working on this for several years before, right? And I'd like to get into the background on how you guys started that, because I do know a little of the story from the previous visit. But you started this whole industry for managing print, and at the time, most printers were not connected. Copiers were really mostly not connected yet. It was still a big analog myth out there, and so you basically built this industry around nothing. So congratulations with the ability to foresee where things were going. And why don't you kind of tell us how you started, where you met? I know I think you said you were students, and Vaclav, why don't you take it, and Martin, you can chime in, and you know, help Vaclav with the story here. Why don't you tell us where it all began?
Well, yeah, we've met in Brno University where we were students. We were just both software engineers, developers, and we were trying to figure out how to earn some money. I think we both quickly realized that we are unemployable because we would always have our own opinion that may not necessarily aligned with the opinions of our possible or potential bosses. Yes. And you know, as a developer, it's pretty easy to make your living. Even back then, even 20 years ago, it was easy. So we started the company. We started as self-proprietors or self-employed, doing, you know, coding bits and pieces here and there. And we would always want to have a baby, a project that we can develop. We didn't enjoy a whole lot, you know, jumping from one project to another. Like every couple months or so, you would work on something different, and we wanted to have our baby that we can nurture and develop. And the way how we were typically engaged was that we participated as software developers on a project, and instead of paid in money, we were paid in shares in that project. And by that, we tried like 5 different projects, various industries. We did something like Wikipedia, but before Wikipedia, we did internet encyclopedias. We did a lot of different projects, but each and every one of them failed for some reason. Some of them failed because of marketing, of course, never because of us, right?
Of course.
But the last project, the 5th one, they actually stole it from us, and we were left with, you know, debts everywhere. and it was really bad, and we just wanted to quit. But somehow I think we supported each other and kind of teased each other, like we haven't give up until now. So
let me stop you there. So at this point, you were still students, and
Yeah.
were you living at home, and going to college?
Kinda.
Look, I think maybe officially we were students, but we're not really visiting. So we didn't graduate. We haven't graduated. They, as the right IT guys, for they kicked us from the university. So I think partly we may had still want to quit there, but the reality was that we were focused on the company.
I think that the question back then was, either we'll start the business and really get the shares that Vaclav mentioned, or we'll finish the school. So well, we did not finish the school.
Take the money.
Well, but at the beginning it was no money, right? I mean, we could make our living, but it was not a success. And when the last project was back in 2002, like they stole it from us, it was really difficult. And I think what really shaped the company in the future was that we didn't give up, and we just said, okay, we're gonna try it once more. And I've seen this quote, someone else, I don't remember even who said that, but the quote is, "The winner is just the loser who tried once more."
I like that.
And it's really true, because it was like 5 years of trying, 5 years figuring out what are we gonna do, and we haven't give up, and we were trying again and again, and we would always kind of stand up and try once more. And back in 2002, the last try, and I think it was literally like we were, okay, let's give it one more chance. And after 5 years, right? And then we said, we're going to get employed. We would always have a good job as software developers.
One last shot here.
Well, going back to our parents and telling them, you were right.
Yeah.
No.
Wrong part of our motivation, right? For both of us.
That was not going to happen.
And because our parents were saying, like, forget the company, go back to studies, finish your school, it's safer approach, right? So admitting they were right, that was just, no. And the way how we figured this out was that we had a customer in Brno. It was a hospital, and they wanted to get rid of their inkjets, and they wanted to have like network printers, not even multifunction devices back then. But the problem was that they couldn't allow patient data to remain once they are printed on the central network printers. And they couldn't find any software that could do that. So they approached us if we can, like, custom development, do it for them. And we programmed that. It was very simple app. Now we were thinking exactly like you said, we were thinking like, hey, the value prop really was that the network devices are so much cheaper operationally. So the ROIs were compared to inkjet printers, desktop printers.
Yep, especially back then.
The ROI was just no-brainer, right? And we've seen all these ROI calculations, and we were part of them. And we kind of thought like, this is no-brainer, but at the same time, they will require an enabler that would allow them not only to secure the print, but also, have the convenience of picking up the print job sort of anywhere and get them print job data, not print job data, but accounting data. Because the other problem we quickly figured out based on talking to the customers was that they said, now we have 2 or 3 cost centers that are sharing one device. And
how to allocate.
We allocate the cost.
Yeah.
So cost allocation was another thing. And we quickly realized that we can be the enabler for the industry to going from desktop printers to network printers.
And I think that was even our message back then. We are saying we are not the solution for the customer. We are the key enabler for you dear vendor to change. So
yeah, our customer always, like in our way of thinking, our customer was more the print manufacturer or the dealers rather than the end customer, right? Because we've seen ourselves as an enabler, so we can be used by a dealer.
Yeah. You don't want to. Yeah.
It was difficult.
Yeah, well, you need somebody to take your product and bring it out to the customers. You can't, obviously be everywhere, and that's why this whole channel exists. So, flash forward 20 years, and you're a hardware company, you're a software company, you're a technology company, you are a venture capitalist. Yes,
that's right.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about each of these pieces of who is Ysoft. I know you from SafeQ and the print management world, and you've shown me what you've done in 3D printing for a while. You were, I don't know if you're still doing it, but I know at the beginning of the pandemic, you guys were, you have these small educational 3D printers built for education. And you had them, and I've seen banks of them just lined up, and you had them all firing off, running and making masks,
shields,
right?
yeah.
Clear masks shields, for healthcare. So that was awesome. So tell us who is Ysoft? What are you doing now? And where do we go from here? What's the next? What do the next 20 years look like for you guys?
Well, I think that's that's a lot of question altogether. The things that I can say is that the world is changing with a fast pace, especially with everything that's happening. So that's there is very important that we can change with the world, and for us, I think that it's actually a great opportunity. It's not super easy, of course. Yeah, there's a lot of stress in our heads, but it's challenging and great opportunity to leap forward. As you mentioned, yeah, we are a software company that's we are still working on our solution since 2008, as Vaclav mentioned back then. We are a service company because I think that's as you and I probably know, there are other vendors that are doing similar solutions around the globe, and I think that we always try to differentiate by the way how we actually deliver the service to our partners and actually the end customers. So I believe that still, if you ask our partners why you go with Ysoft and our solutions, it's the way how we approach the customers, and that's very difficult to copy. And of course, if you see an example like Apple, if you have good combination of software and hardware, then you do the deal breaker. If the hardware and the software works hand in hand, and whether we are talking about readers that you connect to the printers, whether you are talking about the 3D printers and build of the devices, if you have the right software, right services, and the right hardware connected together, then you have the right mix that you can deliver to the customers. And of course, this is working. If you have good relation and direct access to the customer in the world today with masks and social distancing and people working from remote, that is a little more tricky. And I think that's what we are trying to address, now and for foreseeable future.
And what I would add, if you ask about, who is Ysoft, I would say Ysoft really is about entrepreneurialism. I think Ysoft is just a bunch of entrepreneurs, right? And the way, so the umbrella to all that is that we have certain core competencies, right? Hardware, software, combining these things. We're extending these competencies in fields like venture capital, where we are helping other companies that want to build their business in the field of software and hardware. IoT is just great opportunity for a combination of software and hardware, right? But the way how I'm looking at how companies should operate, it is my belief that company is, or company strategy actually is about how do you leverage current market opportunities with your core capabilities, right? So Ysoft is about identifying our core capabilities, combining software, hardware, and print industry. And then the question is, where do you find the opportunities? And opportunities are coming with change. And it's difficult to absorb that change. But every change, no matter how unpleasing the change is, brings opportunity. So Ysoft is about how do we use our core competencies to lead the change and to deliver customers and partners solutions that will help to transform their business based on where the world is moving. And yeah, more specifically, obviously, cloud, everything is in cloud. For us, this is a huge transformation, right? Because you see, and I really enjoy it in one sense, it's a lot of work, but transforming the company, the business model from on-premise to cloud, it's really tackling every single part of the company: IT, finance, R&D, customer support, everything, right? Legal, it touches everything, and it is not building it from scratch. It is actually, rebuilding something what already exists, and that's, I would say, more difficult in one sense, but it also gives you bigger opportunity because you already are established on the market.
So what I thought was so cool about you guys, and I definitely see it playing a major part in your next 20 years, was that Ysoft Ventures, which you just mentioned. And so just to take a step back and clarify, Ysoft, for those of you who don't know, they're located in this town, Brno, this small town. But one of the things about this town is I believe there's over 50,000 students there, or some number.
Maybe more.
Yeah, I think it's like, didn't they say it's like a third or half the town is students, right? So you've
that's right.
a technology company in the middle of and so you've got tons of students working in your labs at your company, and you've got this organization called Ysoft Ventures. So these students can come to you with ideas, right? Like you had when you were a student. And if they're interesting to you and if they'll fit in, if I understood correctly, you guys will fund it. And what I saw when I was out there was a huge robotics lab of all these, I mean, it looked kind of almost like Disney characters, robots doing the testing that, 5 years ago, probably people would have been doing. And it was nothing fancy, but it was just an arm with a lever and hitting print and hitting print and hitting print. And it was recording the data that was coming off of the equipment. And I saw literally everybody's hardware was in there. Every major brand was in there. But, the coolest thing was they developed these robots. I thought they went out and bought robotics to do this job. And it was not that. It was, we took some students, took some software, and they took some.
You know how this started? It was actually two students approached us, and they were just graduating high school, which is like 18, 19 years old, right? Yeah. And they wanted us to fund their competition in robotics, right? It was called Sumo Robots.
Battle.
Sorry?
That's just battle robots here, just fighting each other.
The competition is about that you need to build autonomous robot that is trying to identify where the other robot is located and push it out of the ring, right? And it has to be completely autonomous. And these were students of robotics, and they approached us that they would like if we can fund or help them, give them some sponsorship. And we were thinking about that, and we said, hey, you know what, we can, but it would really help us if you can help us to build a robot that would actually test our software. Because at the beginning, right, we had external control devices, but now everything is integrated into MFDs. And you have so many vendors, and then you have different display sizes. And many vendors, they have different technologies. right? So you have 3-4 different softwares, even for one vendor.
Yeah.
So there's an incredible number of combinations, and human testing is just not good fit for that. So it actually started like this. What is really interesting is that it started as testing, but when COVID hit, then everything was locked down, and we were sort of forced to work from home office, not by government, but really, just think about it, that you have like 50, 60 people in one open space, and then one of them would be positive. What does it mean is that you have to close the whole office, right? So just thinking about that was just, the risk is too high. We send everyone on a home office. And as a software developer, it's okay. But we cannot have these software developers to bring the devices at home. Like imagine that, and you tell your wife, hey, honey, we are gonna have a big tablet, multifunction device in our living room. What about that, right?
And maybe half a dozen of them, so.
Yeah.
And then you don't have as many of them, right? So what we actually used, what the team did is that they altered the robots. So they actually were used, or have been used, and they are still used for remote access. So you develop your code from home, and when you need to try it, you have your robot with camera. The robot can actually navigate. So on a camera, you really click with your mouse, and it navigates to the coordinates and makes the click. So it turned out to be a remote controller in time of COVID, when people cannot be in the office.
How cool
and
is that?
you can do this easily with just screens, but if you have physical buttons on the device, or you just need to remove the paper, well, you need to have a physical hand.
It was cool. There were arms and hands, and I mean, and they were all over the place. It was. I could imagine that it was a little spooky, probably looking at your office from the outside when there was nothing but robotic arms moving around. So well, this was great. I won't take up any more time, but I really appreciate you guys spending my morning with me, your afternoon there, and enjoy Prague. I can't wait to come back and visit you guys someday. I'm missing the travel, I have to say. Especially over to companies like you guys out in Europe and in Australia and all over the world. It's been tough to sit here and just do it through Zoom, but better through Zoom than not at all. So it was wonderful to see you guys. I'm glad you're doing well. Any last words for everybody? Vaclav, why don't you start?
Well, thanks for having us, first of all. I really hope that you are going to be able to come really soon, first of all, because it would be nice to have you here again.
Yes.
And for a second, it would mean that the world is moving more into standard operation. And my last word, I would just repeat what I said. Keep trying. Whatever it takes, right? It's not an easy time for most of the organizations. Certainly for our industry, we are challenged a lot. And it is really important that as an industry, we keep innovating, and we are not looking at the current situation as a disaster, but we're looking at what new opportunities it is creating with open mind, and that's the way how we as an industry should go.
Hear, hear. Martini?
And I think that I can only confirm what Vaclav said. Yeah, we have crazy times, but as well great opportunities for every industry. It may not seem always like that. So I believe that we'll be able, not just us, but the world will be able to use it. So thanks for having us, and stay safe.
Well, thank you both, and thanks for joining me. And congratulations on the last 20 years. And here's to the next 20, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Andy.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Take care. We'll see you soon. Congrats.
See
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
See you.